think she doesn't have power.
Oh, that's right, but it was only for the day, right? Like 12 to 5, or was it?
How come it doesn't rain?
Oh, no power area.
No, she's not there right now.
Maybe she went to her friend's house because there's no power all day.
And Graham is not there either. He would probably watch on YouTube too.
It doesn't rain at her place.
Yeah, no phone. Anyway, I'll give 2 minutes for sure, and then we might have a shorter session tonight. I just want to tell you right now, we need next week.
Okay.
So 2 shorters.
Yeah.
Okay? Because I don't want to crash it. There's nice material to cover. So maybe 45 tonight and 45 next week. And then we are all done with Deuteronomy. What I would suggest, I forgot to announce it last Monday night, since we're done Hebrews. I wanted to say to the group of Hebrews that let it go for a month. Don't review your notes and read the book without going back to the notes, and you will be amazed. Okay. And then write on your not sure, and then you go back to the notes. You will be surprised what you will be memorizing for 13 chapters.
That's for the
Same for Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy is a bit more difficult. It's Old Testament knowledge, but let it go. Forget it, and then you go and you read the book raw. No footnotes at the bottom. It's going to confuse you later. Read the book raw, and you will be surprised. Okay, got it.
Does not answer. So
There's no answer. A double check, and we go for it.
The other group has done Hebrews, but the Saturday
The
is not.
Saturday morning are still on it. We won't be able to cover it
No.
in British Columbia.
Okay.
But I will finish it though. It's going to be finished. It's going to be 1:30 for me and 10:30 still for you.
32.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Just Jeanette on the line. That's great. Good. Welcome, Andrew and Jeanette. That's beautiful. Please turn on page 14. We're getting in there. Page 14. And before I pray, remind me. Last week we did the limitations of judgment, and I explained to you that the Gentiles cannot really rejoice about the history of Israel, what happened in the past, and so on, because God will notice that. And because of what happened, the Gentiles, the way they look at him, basically the judgment is tempered on Israel also, tempered by the mercy of God. He doesn't like the people to laugh at his wife. And because of this, he will basically take vengeance upon the enemies at the second coming, and so on. And I also said to you, based upon a nice verse, if you can go to chapter 32, verse 36b, you will remember this. For Jehovah will vindicate his people, and he will have compassion on her servant when he sees that their strength or power is gone. This is something that will be happening at the end of the Great Tribulation, based upon Daniel chapter 12, verses 5 to 7. And I left you basically that saying that once they will acknowledge their helplessness in strength and power, believing in themselves and armament and so on, then they will realize that they are going nowhere. And there we will see the national regeneration of the people of Israel in the last 3 days of the Great Tribulation. Father God, once again, thank you so much for your patience and your grace that we have the opportunity to study what we have embarked to. I am proud of those who have run the race until the last chapter, which will finish basically next week. It's been a long journey together, but a great curve of learning at the same time. Thank you for your sanctification towards us. Help us tonight to get what we need to get. People are basically tired at this time. So thank you, and we'll get back to you next week to finish it. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. For me, I think I'm doing it. Yes, it's recorded. Thank you. Arabic number 8, parenthetical number 8, the restoration of Israel. It's logical, basically after number 7. Chapter 32, verses 39 to 43. I'm going to take it verse by verse as usual. In verse 39, this is the restoration of Israel. Verse 39 says, "See now that I am He." Circle that, I am He. This is the very name Jehovah. Because when it says I am He, it's the verb to be. And Jehovah, YHVH, which often you have heard me say that this is the memorial name of God, and this is I am that I am, drawn from the verse to be. Okay, it is I who put to death and give life. I have wounded, and it is I who heal, and there is no one who can deliver from my hand. So that's basically the doing of God here. In verses 40 to 42, we have the vengeance. He talks about vengeance of this one God, and he takes an oath here. "Indeed, I lift up my hand." Basically, lifting up the hand is swearing and take an oath to heaven. "And say, as I live forever, if I sharpen my flashing sword, and my hand takes hold of justice, I will render vengeance on my adversaries, and I will repay those who hate me." So he's talking about vengeance here. And he pictures himself basically as swearing by the heaven type of thing that these things will happen. He talked about vengeance. It's maybe Moses that he does not lift up his hand. He reports things of God and so on. Verse 42 here, be careful. "I will make arrows drunk with blood, and my sword will devour flesh. With the blood of the slain and the captives, from the long-haired leaders." Some of you might have head leaders. Some of you have the word head there? No? Head leaders, 42b.
The heads of the enemy leaders.
Okay, good. In my translation, the New American Standard, it has long-haired leaders, but we should have basically head there, singular. In verse 42, the long-haired, it's a head in the original Hebrew. Head, singular. And the head, singular there, within the context of that vengeance, refers to the Antichrist. That's why you have head, singular. Even long-haired, singular. So it refers to the Antichrist. And look at the other words where I want to draw your attention. It says basically in verse 42 at the end, the leaders, long-haired leaders of the enemy. So the head is singular, referring to the seed of Satan, basically the Antichrist, and the head of leaders is any Gentiles that leads the army at the last battle when Christ is coming back. It refers to the Gentile leaders, not the Jewish leaders of any kind.
I'm confused by the long-haired.
I don't know why it's translated this way, but in the original Hebrew, the word is head. I can research that for next week rather. Yeah, that's basically, I don't know, so I will research it for next week. It's a good question, excellent question. Verse 43, look, rejoice, O nations, its nations, with his people. His people is the Jews. He will avenge the blood of his servants and will render vengeance on his adversaries and will atone. Circle whatever word you have for atone for his land and his people. Here in verse 43, you can cross-reference this with Psalm 33 verse 29.
Say again?
Psalm chapter 33 verse 29. And also Malachi chapter 3 verse 12. Psalm 33 verse 29 as well as Malachi chapter 3 verse 12. Just cross-reference there and basically make a note also that verse 43 is a doxology, a praise to God. That's what we call a doxology.
Malachi is?
Malachi?
Which is the doxology?
43 verse.
Malachi is chapter 3 verse 12.
Okay, and verse 33 is?
Verse 43. If I said 33, it's a mistake.
No, I did. Sorry.
It's a doxology. You have it on the board right now.
Okay.
a doxology, it's a praise to God. The verse is that, basically. Rejoice, O nation, for he will avenge the blood of his servants. He will render vengeance on his adversaries and will atone for his land and his people. So basically, this is a climax of joy. This is the only observation that I have to do. It is a climax of joy. Why? Because of atonement. The word is kippur here, by the way, for atone. You see, it's easy to determine the context of the restoration of Israel there, because there will be a rejoicing together from the nations who believe and with his people, and also the nations that will suffer vengeance and so on. So joy because of atonement, joy before of reconciliation, and joy because of glorification of the land, and much more. The fourth temple to come and everything that does involve into the 1,000-year reign. Climax of joy for atonement, reconciliation of Israel to God, the glorification of Israel in the fact that they are all saved right now in this context, in the future, the restoration of the land, and much more. Anything that I need to repeat on that point, because I'm ready to move on in parenthetical 9. Good. Number 9, the conclusion, verse 44, very easy. Then Moses came and spoke all the words of this song. We are still in the song. In the hearing of the people, he with Joshua the son of Nun. The he here, of course, is Moses. You might have Hosea, but it is Joshua. Okay, this is the same meaning. Any of you that have Hosea instead of Joshua? No?
Joshua,
Good.
the son of Nun.
The son of Nun.
So
yeah.
he's accompanying Moses?
Yes, that's it. That's the transfer. This is the same person. Hosea and Joshua plus Moses. This is passing the torch to Moses and so on. Not to Moses, to Joshua. Now you can look at capital C, the historical supplement. Look at capital C, the historical supplement. It goes from chapter 32, 45 to 52. And then it is also subdivided by parenthetical number 1, Arabic 1. The admonition to obedience. The admonition to obedience in verses 45 to 47. In verse 45, basically we have the timing here. We can make a few notes here. And this is here, from 45 to 47, this is a narrative interlude. It is a narrative interlude. And the reason why I teach that this is a narrative interlude, you don't have this in the original Hittite suzerain vassal treaty. So it shows you that Moses did modification. He did not respect everything within the Hittite suzerain vassal treaty. So Moses shows some flexibility, and this is very much allowed because it's not Hittite here. It's Christian if you want to, from believers to Israel. So Moses shows flexibility in regards to the Hittite suzerain vassal treaty, HSVT. And what is the narrative interlude? It is basically an exhortation to Israel. It's an exhortation to Israel to a very specific course of action. It is an exhortation to Israel to a very specific course of action. And by the way, I'm going to let you finish your note. It is a very specific course of action for Israel, which way to take. And it's not the first time that Moses make an interlude like this. Reference on this, all in Deuteronomy, okay? Chapter 4, verses 41 to 43. Chapter 4, verses 41 to 43. Also found in chapter 5, verses 22 to 33. Chapter 5, verses 22 to 33. Also in chapter 26, verses 16 to 19. And one more time in chapter 29, verse 7, 29:7 to 30:20. Chapter 29, verse 7, straight down to chapter 30, verse 20, you have the same type of interlude there. Verse 46, I'm going to read 45 again. When Moses had finished speaking all these words to all Israel, he said to them, "Take to your heart all the words with which I am warning you today, which you shall command your sons to observe carefully, even all the words of this law." Again, circle this law. This law is Israel here. So this is the admonition and the exhortation if you want to. Careful to the word, and this does apply for us today, and I praise you for the carefulness that you pay. You give heed to the word and you're careful to study it properly within the context, and you will get your rewards for this. Verse 47, for it is not an idle word, circle idle word, for you. Indeed, it is your life. It's strong. Circle idling word. And circle, indeed, it is your life. And by this word you will prolong your days in the land which you are about to cross the Jordan to possess. In the ESV of 1901, who has a King James here? Nobody? Okay. It says, no vain thing for you. And the no vain thing for you, it's the word. You have a message for the church right there, a series of messages here. For it is not an idle world, idling, like when you let the car running to get the car warm in the east where the winter time is. It's idling there. So what we are studying together, it's not idling words. It's not the Times columnist, and it's not Facebook or whatsoever. This is the eternal Word of God, and this is indeed our life, because Christ is the Word. John chapter 1, verse 1. So, you know what? I don't know if I ever said this. I don't know, but it's the truth. You cannot say, I love God, if you don't study His Word. It ain't going to work. It's not working. If you have a love and a passion for God, we ought to get into the Word because it is our life. That's what it says here. Choose life. And right now, I need to praise you. Right now you're choosing life, and you have been choosing life from the day of your salvation, but now you're getting more mature because you understand the depths of the Scriptures. And you're scrutinizing the Word. And if you scrutinize the Word is life, and therefore it is our life. Do you get me? Redundancy, but it's a fact. I read again. And this is not an idle world for you. Indeed, it is your life. And by this word, you see word, you will prolong your days in the land which you are about to cross the Jordan to possess it. That does not relate to you. We're not getting into the promised land. But it relates to you based upon of the book of Hebrews that we have done, the pressing forward to maturity. Don't be afraid at times when it's needed to step outside of your comfort zone, to initiate a phone call. Whatever the case could be, you have people to help you. See, you have a person to help you with the YouTube. Hello, Germaine. Come on in. That's okay.
You okay?
Okay, good. We were concerned we called you.
Oh. Yeah, I called.
It's 6:20 here.
I would have left around 5 to 6.
Okay.
Just take time and then we'll carry on slowly. Okay, so finish the speech on that. But I hope that it will stay with you, and it does stay with you right now. Okay? This is our life. So commit your life to study. I'm not saying to you quit your job. I wish I would be able to do so. But find a place always to get with a program that is a little bit more in-depth than what we find today, nowadays, in different churches. I don't mean to demolish the church, but I don't need to explain to you that it's hard nowadays, in the age that we are in, to find a church where they expound upon the word. It's not an easy find. Okay? That's what I pray with my eyes open, to be able to find such a thing in Ontario. Do I have doubt? It's an absolute yes, but I will see. Verse 47, I read it twice. Cross-reference to this. Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 16. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 2. Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 9. 25:15, chapter 25, verse 15, and chapter 32, verse 47. You cross-reference it at your pace.
What was the first one?
Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 16. Okay, you got it? Good stuff. Number 2, look at your outlines. Instruction concerning the death of Moses, 48 to 52. Look at your passage, 48 to 52. It's what's left of chapter 32, Germain. You should be in
Okay.
Deuteronomy chapter 32 right now. Take time to find the right place. Deuteronomy chapter 32, in verse 48 to 52 here. You come, I read the chunk. Jehovah spoke to Moses that very same day. Circle the very same day. Right after the song. Go up on this mountain of the Abarim, Mount Nebo, which is in the land of Moab, opposite Jericho, and look at the land of Canaan, which I am given to the sons of Israel for a possession. Then die on the mountain. How do you like it? I would like to have a word of God like this. Go there and die in that mountain. It's beautiful. Then die on this mountain where you ascend, and be gathered to your people, as Aaron your brother died on Mount Hor and was gathered to his people. The gathering to his people will be completely expounded on Genesis 51. Because you broke faith with me, capital M, in the midst of the sons of Israel, at the waters of Meribah, Kadesh, in the wilderness of Zin, because you did not treat me, capital M, as holy in the midst of the sons of Israel. For you shall see the land at distance, but you shall not go there, into the land which I am given to the sons of Israel. The exposition. Verse 48, it's the very word of Jehovah again. I read it. He spoke the very same day. Once again, it's the very same day that Moses wrote the song, received the song also. And now, let me read again. Go up to this mountain of Abarim, circle Abarim, Mount Nebo, circle that, which is in the land of Moab, circle land of Moab, opposite Jericho, and look at the land of Canaan. So basically, based upon Numbers, the book of Numbers, make a note. If you cross-reference with Numbers chapter 33, verses 47 to 48. I'm coming back because you want to know what I will say right now. The reference was Numbers 33, verses 47 to 48. Moses is double back right now. He's going back. Instead of being very close to the Holy Land right now, is going back a full day away from the camp of Israel, where they're located right now. So he's going back a full day. He's going back into the land of Moab on Mount Nebo and so on. Probably because the people will not see where he will be buried, and to this day nobody knows where Moses was buried and so on. So he's going to die a day back, away from the camp, from the full nation that he will possess the land.
He will go by himself.
He will go by himself. And the purpose to go back there is to die. I don't know if he prayed on his way, but he obeyed and he went. And he died on that mount. He died on the same mount that Aaron 6 months later died. Okay? 50, number 50, that's why he says, as Aaron your brother died in Mount Hor and was gathered to his people. So Aaron died about 6 months earlier than Moses.
But not on the same mountain.
No, one of them is the mountain range. That's the same mount. But one of them is named by the mountain range, and on that mountain you find Mount Nebo. Okay? So it's basically a chain of mountains right there. 2 reasons given in verse 51. Because you broke faith with me in the midst of the sons of Israel at the waters of Meribah Kadesh, in the wilderness of Zin, because you did not treat me as holy in the midst of the sons of Israel. It's the reference to Numbers chapter 20. Numbers chapter 20, verses 1 to 13. Okay, Numbers chapter 20, verses 1 to 13. Okay? Because of the striking the rock and everything, the bronze serpent, that they have sinned in making requests to God. And the second reason, no sanctification of God. He lacked to treat God holy in front of the congregation. That was his lack, to treat God as holy in front of the congregation. Do you need to finish your notes properly, since something repeats something a little bit slower? Vicky's good to keep me accountable on that stuff, Vicky. Numbers chapter 20, verses 1 to 13. That's the plague of the fiery serpent. Okay, 2 observations to draw from there that we can glean. Number 1. God here used the second person plural pronoun. He uses the second person plural pronoun, showing that both Moses and Aaron were guilty of the same sin. Not treating the congregation holy. Aaron was guilty when he let the golden calf be made. That's why he uses the second person plural. They or you guys.
Where is he using?
In the Hebrew language.
Oh.
In the Hebrew language. That's what he's using the second in the original Civi. It's probably verse, you refuse to treat me as holy, the Lord's the very same day. Go to this verse 51, because you broke faith with me. The you is a plural you. Not ascribed to the whole nation, but ascribed because the closer antecedent is Aaron and Moses. The second observation, Herod died 6 months. I released that one already. Six months earlier than Moses. Aaron died 6 months earlier than Moses, and they did not see the land. Moses will see it. Aaron did not.
But they both did not enter the land.
They cannot enter the land. But Moses, and unlike Aaron, will see. Look at verse 52. For you shall see the land at distance, and you shall not go there into the land which I am giving to the sons of Israel. I have been, do you know what? I have been on Mount Nebo. And I did a devotional there. And basically you can see the land, but not in its totality. So basically what he would have given to Moses there would probably kind of a vision of the whole land. You can go there, you see the land, but not to extreme north nor south. I have been to that mountain. There is a place where they say that Moses would have been there. I doubt it. Sometime it could be a little bit to the left, there to the right. But I have been on that mountain when I first went to Israel in 2006. to study there. Beautiful. Now we move on to capital D, the blessings of Moses. We're doing very good. The blessings of Moses. Capital D, put your finger on your outlines, goes from chapter 33, verses 1 to 29. And this is also subdivided by Arabic number 1, the intro, the introduction, verse 1, and the historical review, 33 verses 2 to 5. Let's read 33:1. Now this is the blessing with which Moses, the man of God, blessed the son of Israel before his death. You see, he's not poor me, poor me, poor me. I've been asked to walk before I die. These guys, if he did that, it's not recorded. But knowing Moses with everything that he went through, knows exactly where he's going. And I would like to wish the same for you on the day that God say, I'm bringing you home. Okay? We're so clipped to this life here. It's normal. But the more you will grow to maturity, pay close attention, sometimes you will say to God, would you mind, take me home now? That's getting to know him. And that's getting distancing slowly from the world system when you realize that everything will let you down. You kind of develop not an attempt to take your life, not a suicidal attitude, but when you say, when you grow older, yes, I have 3/4 of my life done. I would like to give another 10 years to God, which is my desire. And after that, I sure hope that he will bring me home when it's time to go. That was the introduction, the content and timing. So Moses now, he kind of do a patriarchal blessing because he's one of the father of Israel. And the patriarchal blessing here, it's very similar to Psalm 90. Psalm 90. For this is the blessing with which Moses, the man of God, blessed the son of Israel before his death. Read Psalm 19. By the way, make a note. Psalm 90 is the most ancient of all the 150 Psalms. It's the oldest of them all. Do you know why? Because it was written in Kadesh Barnea after he saw millions of people dying in the wilderness. That's the context of Psalm 90. And here the expression where it says Moses, the man of God, in Hebrew, it's the word prophet. And he is a prophet because he received direct revelation from God. A reference to prophet, 1 Samuel, chapter 9, verses 6 and 10. 1 Samuel, chapter 9, verses 6 and 10. You can start to promote, I don't know, probably September to come. We do 1st and 2nd Sam. 1 Kings chapter 13. 1 Kings chapter 13 verses 1 and 8. And also in 1 Kings chapter 17 verse 18. Now in 2 Kings chapter 4 verse 7. Have I said 2 Kings chapter 17, 18 or 1 King? Okay, first, that was right. Okay, 1 Kings 13, 1 and 8, and 1 Kings 17, 18, and now 2 Kings chapter 4, verse 7, and it's complete this way. Okay, look closely here in verse basically 2. Okay, number 2, verse 2 here. I'm going to read and I'm going to ask you to circle a few things down the road. Just let me see if I go back to verse 2. Okay, no, I'm going to go to verse 2. Just a moment. All right, just give me a sec here. if you look at your outline, I want to give you the sons of Israel that will be blessed, the 12 tribes and so on, okay? You have them in Arabic number 3. I will come back to these things here. What he does here, read with me, starting in verse 4. Moses charges us with a law, a possession for the assembly of Jacob, and he was king in Yeshurun. When the heads of the people were gathered, the tribes of Israel together, may Reuben, circle Reuben, live not and die, nor his men be few. And this regarding Judah. Go to 8 of Levi, circle Judah in verse 7, circle Levi in verse 8. Scroll down to verse 12 of Benjamin, circle Benjamin. Go to verse 13, circle Joseph. Go down to verse 18, circle Zebulun. Also in verse 18, circle Issachar. Go to verse 20, circle Gad. Go to verse 22, circle Dan. 23, Naphtali. 24, Asher. And that's it for now. Now you make your notes right now. As he starts the blessing, he begins with 3 sons of Leah. That's how he starts. 3 sons of Leah.
Are we on number 2?
No, we're not on number 2. Just make, yeah, we are in the historical review right now.
Okay.
But I just want to give you this. That's
Okay.
why I asked you to circle these names.
Okay.
He begins with 3 sons of Leah, Leah. You have circled them already. Reuben, Judah, and Levi. Then Moses carry on with 2 sons of Rachel. You circle them also. They are Ben and Joseph. Then Moses at that time goes back to Leah again. 2 other sons of Leah, Zebulun and Issachar. Then he goes with a son of Zilpah, 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 Zilpah,
Sorry, can you...
Zilpah, Zilpah.
And they were sons of Leah.
Yeah, I'm just naming them right now.
Mm.
The sons of Zilpah is Gad, the tribe of Gad. Then he goes with Bilhah, Bilhah, Bilhah. They are not in the scriptures, but he goes only with the sons, Dan and Naphtali. Then he goes back to Zilpah again with Asher. Just wanted to show you this.
Can you repeat those again?
Yes, yes. Just make a note because you don't find them in the account. You need to go back to Genesis 49.
What was the last son?
I will repeat everything.
Okay.
I will repeat everything right now. I just want to make a note of this for what's coming after that, and we have time to do it tonight. He begins with 3 sons of Leah, Reuben, Judah, Levi.
Okay.
Then Moses, in our account here, goes to 2 sons of Rachel.
Okay.
They are Ben and Joseph.
Okay.
Then he goes back to Leah, and he named Zebulun and Issachar. Then he goes to Zilpah, Zilpah, and he names Gad. Where is the Gad? Again, verse 20. He names Gad. Then he goes with Bilhah, Bilhah, and he gives to us basically Dan and Naphtali. And then he goes back to Zilpah with Asher, and this is it. Now, I'm not going to ask you to count, it's not the time, but have you noticed something? Somebody's missing. Simeon is missing in the list. Why? No need, there is no such a thing as the lost tribe of Israel. This is a saying that started in the year 1000, a theory. There is no such a thing. The way they wrote, not only Moses right now, it's to maintain the symmetry of 12. It's to maintain the symmetry of 12. Because if you count all the tribes, you don't have 12, you have 13. If you go to Revelation 7, there is the same thing, the naming of all the tribe. Dan is left out in Rev 7. And when you study Revelation, all kinds of speculation. Why is Dan left out, type of thing? And they don't know what to answer. It has to be understood in the system of the Old Testament background. Once again, the symmetry of 12. John in Revelation 7 dropped down. I just said it. Ezekiel, in Ezekiel chapters 47 and 48, the redistribution of the New territory in the Messianic kingdom, Ezekiel chapters 47 and 48, he drops Levi to keep it 12. Moses here in Deuteronomy 33 drops Simeon only to maintain the symmetry of 12.
Why is the symmetry of 12 important?
It's because that's the completion of the numbers 3. And this is kind of a multiple of 3 type of 3, 6, 9, 12. So, and they do the same thing in the New Testament concerning the 12. Before, even after Judah Iscariot committed suicide, they're still after that called the 12. And they're down to 11.
So they got...
The 12. That's an Old Testament background. Okay? Yes.
I don't get it. I don't understand at all. When I count here, starting with Reuben, I count 11.
Yes.
Reuben, Judah, Levi.
It's perfect because Joseph produced 2 tribes. So he goes to 11, but he names Joseph. Joseph produced 2. So basically, it's 12.
2, which one?
Benjamin and
Benjamin and Manasseh.
So it's Manasseh that is missing.
No, it's Simeon that is missing. Simeon is missing in that place. Don't sweat it too much. But we need to keep in mind that Joseph, while he was in Egypt, produced, not Benjamin. Not Benjamin. Ephraim? Yeah, the 2 tribes in Egypt. So basically, he keeps the symmetry of 12 again, because 2. So he takes only 1, he names Joseph, which is 2, but you get 13. It's very difficult to understand.
But I get it.
You get it?
Yeah.
That's why you always need to seek who is dropped. And if you drop Joseph, you drop 2.
Okay.
Okay?
Leah, Rachel, Zilpah, and Bilhah were all the wives.
That's it.
And the servant wives.
Absolutely. The concubine at that time. And they produced basically the 12 tribes of Israel in Genesis towards the end of it. Okay? That's what's the sons of Jacob, basically. Concubines, that's the Rachel, Leah, Zilpah, and Bilhah. So
Were those in age order then? Is that why they went 3 here and then 2 there? And then
don't ask, I don't know.
You
I
don't
never
know?
got
Okay.
it, why he bounced back and forth this way. Okay? I really don't know. I cannot give you a valid answer. My point is, listen closely, my point. Because in Bible study, you will come across somebody that will say to you, there is a lost tribe of Israel. Delete that. It's not true. There is no tribe that was lost.
It's the symmetry of 12.
That's the symmetry that is kept there. Okay? Sometimes Levi are left aside because they want to keep it 12, and if you get rid of Levi, that's the priestly tribe. It's 13 but 12. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay. A best example, after the death of Judas Iscariot, when he commits suicide in the book of Acts, you still have reference the 12, but they are down to 11 for a period of time. So just keep that in mind, because I don't like you to see. You have heard the story of the gate of Israel when the camel has to undress to go through the gate. It's the principle of submission. The gate of the east. No. It doesn't make sense. The camel doesn't have to kneel to go through. The gates were high enough. It's an invention of the tour guides out there.
So what did you say about Ezekiel 47 and 48? Where did that, who got dropped in one?
He dropped Levi.
Levi.
Yeah, he dropped Levi.
And they were redistributing?
That's the retribution, yeah, because the chapters 47 and 48, it's Israel in the Messianic kingdom. When you see, if you go to Ezekiel 47 right now, in Ezekiel chapter 44 to 48, it's all the new, the Messianic kingdom.
Gotcha.
All of
I
it.
didn't know that.
Okay? Gate for the prince, 44. The Lord's portion of the land. 46, the prince's offering. No, I just wanted 47, water from the temple.
Okay.
Division of the land in verse 48. And all chapter 44 to 48 of Ezekiel, it's all Messianic kingdom.
Okay.
This is truth for you, that word's very, very expensive truth. Because most of the people nowadays in our churches, they don't believe in the Messianic kingdom. How can you allegorize 4 chapters of the book of Ezekiel? Okay? This is dear to me. This is something sometimes that I choose to, do I go for it? And why do I go for it? Because it's difficult, Sylvie. You were not lost because you were counting.
Yeah.
That's it. You were counting. And you miss a sentence here and there. There is something that is very dear on my soul as a Bible expositor. And because I'm not God, it's not going to happen. I want to give you the maximum of myself, in a sense, to prevent you from false teaching. Because it is full of false teaching around you. You cannot say no. You are immersed in it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Small group, thank you so much. Thank you for thanking me. And when I think about you, am I going to say this? Okay, sometimes I skip. The Spirit is there, it's guiding me. But here, my point is not for you to count and have all the mathematical issue. I don't want you to be told that there is a lost tribe of Israel.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my point. But if I say only that to you, you might say, yeah, but how come you say that? And all of the cross, how do you say? Because look, he names 11. There is one lost tribe.
Got it.
Thank you so much. We carry on. It was supposed to be shorter. Ain't going to happen.
That's okay.
It's okay. Huh? Beautiful. Verse 2. So now I said this here about the guys, the tribes. They will all next week have a characteristic here. Point number 2, verse 2, the historical review. I wanted to get rid of this, now I did. Verse 2, what does it say? He said, Jehovah came from Sinai, circle Sinai, and dawned on them from Seir, circle Seir. He shone forth from Mount Paran, circle Mount Paran. So when it says the Lord came for Sinai, you need to think Shekinah glory. And you all know this term. What's the Shekinah glory? The visible manifestations of God's presence. And it was seen throughout the whole region that they were in. The beginning of his manifestation to Israel with the Shekinah, it was at the start of 40 years on Mount Sinai. So you take Sinai and you write start of the 40.
Oh.
What's the 40? The wilderness wandering. You write Sinai, you make equal, like a mathematic, you equal start of the 40. You write Seir, equal end of the 40. And Mount Paran is the border of the promised land. The glory was seen in all the region that they were. The visible manifestation of God's parents, God's manifestation. Sinai, Seir, Mount Paran, Moses doesn't go there for fun. So basically, the Shekinah glory was seen more to the very place where he wanted to be. Rahab probably saw it. We have heard of what God told you. Maybe, I don't know, she saw during the night a manifestation of God's glory that was happening at Paran. Maybe. So it was bigger. So, what?
Sorry. You said Sinai, the beginning, the start.
Seir, the finish.
And Mount Paran.
The border of the land.
Okay.
Close to Kadesh Barnea. And all of this, it's a reference in verse 3. Indeed, he loves the people. All your holy ones are in your hand, and they followed in your steps. Everyone receives of your words. That's a reference to the Exodus chapter 24. Exodus chapter 24, verses 1 to 11. You basically cross-reference verse 3 to Exodus chapter 24, verses 1 to 11. Now you come with me in verse 4 and 5. Place your finger. Don't read your notes at the bottom. Not now. Moses charged us with the law. Circle, charge us with the law. A possession for the assembly of Jacob. Why Jacob? He stands at the hand of representative for Israel. And he was a king in Yeshurun. When the heads of the people were gathered, the tribes of Israel together. Some translation, they go with a lowercase he was a king. I go with that translation. Moses had two roles. Lawgiver, charges with the law, and he was king also in verse 4. In verse 5 rather. Not a king with a crown, but doing the work of a king if you want to. If you want to go with Jesus as a king, you can, but it's not in the immediate context. Because the immediate context is Moses charges with the law, a possession for the assembly of Jacob, and he was a king in Yeshurun. Okay? Two observations here. You can go either way. I have made my choice, and for me it's Moses. The basic picture is this. First observation. Put your hat of imagination with me right now. The basic picture is this. It's God coming from the desert, the Shekinah glory, God coming from the desert to deliver his people. To deliver his people with his heavenly army. As he trampled the nations. I repeat. The basic picture is this. With the manifestation of the Shekinah glory. Listen closely. You see God coming from the desert because he went to Egypt and so on. They received the law at the Sinai Peninsula to deliver his people with his heavenly army. Picture of angels if you want. As he trampled the nations, the Egyptian and more people also. The Moabite and this and that and so on.
Trample?
Trample, it's to get rid of the enemies, to underfoot. You trample underfoot, you smash them, okay? Number two, observation. The same language will happen at the second coming. We studied it. Where? In Isaiah 63, chapter 1, verse 6. Isaiah 63, verses 1 to 6. Listen. Who is this who comes from Edom with garments of glowing colors from Basra? The one who is majestic in his apparel, marching in the greatness of his strength. So it pictures, in Deuteronomy, you have a picture of the Shekinah glory at Sinai, at the beginning of the Sinai, the beginning of the 40 years, at the end of the 4th year with the Mount Seir, and then Mount Paran, right at the border. So you can see the Shekinah glory acting on behalf of Israel. He will do the same. It will be the second person of the triune God who's coming from Basra. It's a desertic place, releasing Israel from the Great Tribulation. So it's not a new thing in Israel. When John sat down, what do they have as a background? They cannot go to Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. It's not written. It's what they have learned in the synagogue. Wow!
One.
Cool.
Yes, because these are masters of the Old Testament. They were Jewish fishermen. And on the Sabbath, they were going to the synagogue. They cannot read the Torah. They didn't have scroll at that time. It was the story of the rabbi, the teacher of Israel. Read Deuteronomy, because Deuteronomy is a very important book. And these guys, they go through the law, the Pentateuch, through the year. It's divided in 13 or 21 sections. And they read the whole law, not all the books of the Old Testament, the law, the 5 books. And they read it through the year. So for them, Deuteronomy 33, I got it. We're at the period of the year. Oh no, not 30, Deuteronomy 33. But these guys at that time, Mount Seir for them, the Sinai Peninsula, I'll take you there. You drive tomorrow, fill your car with gas, I'll take you there. That's their language.
Yeah.
So when you arrive in Isaiah 63, it talks about the second coming. Cannot question the text right there. It's the second coming of Christ. He will come. It's a visible manifestation. But who is garment? Who mighty to save? It says in Isaiah. Who's the one mighty to save? Who's the one that his name is Savior?
Jesus, the
Beautiful.
second person.
You nailed it. You nailed it. Beautiful. Hey, look. We do it. But let's not only do it, let's study it. This book, there is no other book on the planet that exists that is so
Yeah.
I like watch. And I like to examine the movement and the cogwheels, the Swiss movement, expensive like Rolex. I don't have a Rolex. But man, it takes, it's a masterpiece, these clocks, and it's all working together to give you the time. The Bible is above this. It's all cogwheels.
Yeah.
And you read a book that makes sense. It is our life. We've learned that today.
Yeah.
Tell me why. Because it's the capital W-O-R-D of God. John chapter 1 verse 1. How does it read? Do you remember this one by heart? Sometimes when I get nervous, I paraphrase it all. What's this? In the beginning was the Word, capital W, and the Word was with God. Oh, if you are with God, you're more than two. And the Word was?
God.
Who's the Word?
Jesus.
It's the second person of the triune God. We don't get into the 12 tribes of Israel tonight. We're done for tonight, and we will be done next week. Same time next week, maybe an hour, an hour 5. I don't want to get. Now we get into Reuben in 3, the tribe of Reuben. And there will be characteristic per tribe and mistake a little bit that they have done. You will like it. Don't miss the last session.
So next week is the last Wednesday.
Finished. Guarantee. We finish it even if I leave you at midnight. You're cooked. I'm not